Right now, you can move, lift a finger, blink, turn your head toward a sound. You do it 1,000 times an hour and never notice. Your body just obeys, quietly, instantly. It feels like the most basic thing in the world. It feels like it could never be taken away. But there is a condition where it is, where the mind stays, and the body stops listening forever. You are fully awake, fully aware, thinking clear thoughts, and you cannot tell a single soul that you are still in there. Doctors have a name for this. They call it locked-in syndrome. And the last part of this will change how you think about your own body. Let me show you what it actually means. Picture waking up in a hospital bed. You can hear everything. The beeping, the footsteps, your family crying in the corner. You understand every word. You try to say, "I'm here." Nothing comes out. You try to move your hand to reach for them. Your hand does not move. You try to turn your head, to nod, to squeeze someone's fingers. Nothing. Your body has become a sealed room, and you are the only one inside it. This is not a coma. In a coma, the mind goes dark. The lights are off. Here, the lights are fully on. You are reading the room, following the conversation, feeling the fear. You are completely present. And from the outside, you look exactly like someone who is gone. That is the cruelest part, because the people standing over you cannot see the difference. So they talk about you as if you have already left. They discuss your chances in front of you. They wonder out loud if you can feel anything, and you can feel all of it. So how does a living, thinking person get trapped like this? It comes down to one small piece of the brain. Deep in your skull, where your brain meets your spine, there is a stalk. It is called the brainstem. Inside it sits a region called the pons. Think of the pons as a switchboard. Almost every command your brain sends to your body has to pass through it. Move your arm. The signal goes through the pons. Speak a word, through the pons. Smile, through the pons. It is the bridge between your thoughts and your muscles. Now imagine that bridge gets cut. Often it happens in seconds. A stroke. A clot blocks the artery feeding the brainstem. The cells starve. The switchboard goes dead. And here is the horror of where the damage lands. It is below the part of your brain that makes you you. Your awareness lives higher up, in the cortex. That part is untouched, so your thoughts keep running. Your memories stay. Your personality is fully intact, but the cable connecting that mind to that body has been severed. The thinker survives. The messenger dies. You are awake, watching your own body refuse you, but here is what makes it almost unbearable. In the worst cases, almost nothing moves. Not your arms, not your legs, not your lips, not your tongue. Doctors discovered there is usually one exception, the eyes, specifically looking up and down and blinking. That tiny scrap of movement survives when everything else is gone. And for a long time, nobody realized what it meant, because if you don't know to look for it, you miss it completely. A patient lying still, eyes drifting, occasionally blinking, it looks like a body shutting down. It looks like the end. So locked-in patients get misread. They get labeled as comatose, or in a vegetative state. The chart says no awareness, and the person inside is screaming in a language no one is reading. Studies on this are genuinely disturbing. In many cases, it is not the doctors who notice first. It is family, a mother, a wife, a son. Someone who sits long enough and stares hard enough to catch it. A blink that comes at the right moment. Eyes that answer a question. A flicker that says, "I heard that. I'm still here." And sometimes that recognition takes days. Sometimes it takes months. Imagine the math of that. Months of lying awake inside a body the world has written off. Listening to people grieve you while you are alive. So if the eyes are the only door left, the question becomes simple. Can you build a whole human conversation out of a blink? The answer is yes. And one man proved it in the most extraordinary way. His name was Jean-Dominique Bauby. He was the editor of a major French fashion magazine, Elle, in Paris. He had a fast life. Words, deadlines, glamour, motion. Then in December 1995, in his early 40s, a stroke hit his brainstem. He fell unconscious. He woke up about 20 days later. His mind was perfectly sharp. His body was almost entirely gone. He could move one thing reliably, his left eyelid. That was it. That was his entire connection to the world, and he decided he was going to write a book with it. Not a note, not a sentence, an entire book. Here's how they did it. A helper would recite the alphabet out loud, but not A, B, C in the normal order. They reordered it by how often each letter is used in French. The most common letters first, so the work went faster. The helper would speak each letter one by one. When she reached the letter Bobby wanted, he blinked. That blink meant yes, that one. Letter by letter, they built a word. Word by word, they built a sentence. He composed each line in his head at night. He memorized it. He held it. Then he dictated it the next day, one blink at a time. The book reportedly took around 200,000 blinks. 200,000. A single word could take around 2 minutes. Sit with that. Most people speak a word in less than a second. He paid for each one with that much patience. He called the book The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. And the title is the whole truth of the condition. The diving bell was his body, a heavy, sealed suit dragging him down into silence. The butterfly was his mind, still light, still free, still flying everywhere. He wrote that his imagination could go anywhere it wanted, to memories, to meals, to distant places. His thoughts were as free as ever. It was only the suit that held him. The book came out in France in 1997. It became a sensation almost overnight. And then comes the line that stops everyone. 2 days after his book was published, Bauby died. He held on long enough to be heard, and then he was gone. But think about what he actually proved. That the silence is not emptiness. That behind the still face there can be a full human being, composing, remembering, joking, aching, the whole person intact, just unable to reach the surface. And this is where it stops being a story about one man. Because we trust our bodies completely. We assume the body and the self are the same thing, that if the body stops, the person stops with it. Locked-in syndrome breaks that assumption in half. It shows that the self and the body can come apart, that you can be fully present in a world that has decided you are absent. And it raises a question you can't unthink. When you look at someone still and silent, how do you know what's inside? How do you know who is still in there listening? We tend to think of prison as a place. Walls, bars, a locked door you can see. But the deepest prison has no walls at all. It is a body that no longer carries your voice out. You knock. No one hears the knock. You speak. No sound leaves. The cell is made of your own skin. And right now, you are not in it. Right now, you can move. You can lift your hand, say a name out loud, walk out of the room. You do it without a single thought, without a single blink of effort. Bauby would have given anything for one of those ordinary seconds. So here is the thing to carry with you. Your body is not just a thing you live in. It is the only way the world knows you are still here. Every word, every gesture, every blink that says, yes, I'm listening. That is you reaching out, telling the world you exist. He had one eyelid, and he refused to disappear. You have so much more than that. The question is whether you'll use it before something reminds you how rare it was.